So how hard should your workouts actually feel? And are you actually training enough to see results? So this is one of the biggest comments I see, especially with people who are more advanced and have been training for a while. Obviously, when you're new to things, everything feels hard. You're probably training as hard as you need to. But once you're more advanced, you're like, okay, so I just finished my workout. I don't feel completely destroyed. Like, am I actually working? So we're going to answer those questions there. So there's a big difference between exercising versus training with intention. So today we're going to talk about how hard your sets should feel, when to push harder, and when more isn't necessarily better. You don't need to leave every workout feeling destroyed, but if every workout feels comfortable, then you're probably leaving results on the table. So has anybody heard of reps in reserve before? RIR? Maybe not. I don't talk about them a whole lot. But reps in reserve is how many good reps you could still perform before you fail on that set. So let's say your set calls for 8 reps, but you feel like you could have done 4 more. That's 4 reps in reserve. Or if you feel like you could have done 3 more, that would be like challenging but comfortable. 2 more, it's getting hard. 1 more rep in reserve, it means you would have 1 more good rep in you. And if you had 0 reps in reserve, you couldn't complete another rep with good form. You basically hit failure. And for most working sets, you want to aim for roughly 1 to 3 reps in reserve. So you don't want to hit failure with every single set because you're just breaking down your muscles so much. You want to get to a good place where you're like, okay, I'm pushing really hard, I'm maintaining good form, and I could maybe do like 1, max 3 more reps. And that's when you know you're in a good spot to really build muscle. So are you training hard enough? If your program says 3 sets of 10 reps and you finish with 10 and you think I could have done 7 more, the weight is definitely too light. Go heavier the next set. Or if you're done with all 3 of your sets, go heavier the next time you do that exercise. And if you finish thinking I could maybe do 1 or 2 more reps with good form, that's exactly where you want to be. So this week, I want you guys to kind of think of that as you go through the workouts. Be like, could I have done more? Was I holding back? Or was I actually like really struggling and I maybe could have only done 1 or 2 more sets or 2 more reps? So should you train to failure? Sometimes, sure. I will rarely put to failure in programming. I'll do it with maybe like pull-ups, or if we do like a drop set, we'll do it to failure. Occasionally I'll throw it in there for fun, but with every set, I wouldn't do that. Training to failure can increase fatigue. It can decrease your performance on later sets, so you're not getting the most out of all the exercises that you're doing. It can cause your technique to break down, and it causes more recovery demands. So instead, most of your training can stay close to failure without actually reaching it with those 1 to 3 reps in reserve. Keep in mind that it is important to rest. Rest is not lazy. And I think a lot of us, especially advanced people and people who did sports when they were younger, they assume that breathing heavy, sweating a lot, and burning a ton of calories means that you're having a better workout. But with weight training and heavy lifting, that's just not the case. If you're lifting for muscle and strength, you need recovery to perform well on your next set. So a general guideline, and I normally don't program this long of rest because most of you guys are busy adults who don't really have time to rest 3 minutes between sets. I'll normally do like 90 seconds for compound lifts, and then some isolations I'll do like a minute. But if you do have time to rest a little bit longer, you can definitely take that rest time longer. But for heavy compound movements, a compound movement just means you are working 2 joints or more in an exercise. So like a deadlift, a bench press, a squat, all the heavy exercises that are pretty difficult to do. You should be resting anywhere between like 2 to 3 or more minutes. Like if you're really focusing on strength and you're doing like 5 sets of 4 to 5 reps, you should be resting like closer to 3 to 5 minutes between those sets, just because you're trying to lift really heavy and you want to be fully recovered between sets. But for isolation exercises where you're only working 1 joint and you're isolating 1 muscle, like a bicep curl or a tricep extension, you just need to rest like 1 to 2 minutes between those. So if you only rest for 30 seconds and then your next set sucks because you're winded, that's kind of more of like a conditioning, and your conditioning is limiting you. And that's not necessarily your muscles. There's a time and a place to train like that, but with strength training and majority of your guys' goals to build muscle and to build strength and to get stronger, we're not really doing that. We have a couple high rocks athletes or MMA athletes that will definitely train like that. But most of our workouts, we want to slow it down, be really controlled, focus on good form, and try to get the most out of your working sets. So when should you increase your weight? So if your program says 8 to 12 reps and you're consistently hitting 12 reps with good form and you still have like 3 to 4 plus reps left in reserve, then definitely go up. It's time to increase the weight. And this doesn't mean a huge jump. So I have one guy who's super strong, and anytime he hits like 3 sets of 12, he'll add another plate on, which is 45 pounds. And I'm like, no, just add on like 10 pounds and then another 10 or another 5. He'll add like 90 pounds onto the side instead of like just a little bit. And so if he is able to add a full plate on, that means that he's probably leaving a lot of room on the table. He should only be able to add like 5 or 10 pounds at a time. So let's even say like take it to a smaller scale, a bicep curl. If you are hitting 3 sets of 12 reps with a 10-pound weight for 1 or 2 weeks in a row, just go up to 12.5s if you have them at your gym. And so you're going up 2.5 pounds per hand instead of jumping up to 20s or jumping up to 15s. Even those little increases of weight will help you, but I don't want you guys to feel like you have to jump up a whole plate or you have to jump up a ton of weight. Even if you add like a 5-pound plate to the bar on your squats or your deadlifts, that is adding, like, that's progression, and that's good. So here are the different ways that you can progress. So it's not just increasing weight, but you can also add reps. So let's say you're doing 3 sets of 12 reps, but you feel super uncomfortable. Maybe your gym only has 10-pound plates to add on each side, so you don't want to add 20 pounds just yet. If you're doing like a squat or something. And so maybe you'll just add a couple reps. Be like, okay, I don't feel comfortable adding 20 pounds. I can't find the 5 pounds to add onto the side. I'm just going to try a couple more reps. So then maybe you'll do the first set at 13 reps, the second set at 14, and then the third set goes back to 12. Just adding those couple of reps will help you progress. And soon enough, you'll feel strong enough to add a little bit more weight. Another huge way to progress is improving your technique. And I think I've had a few people mention this to me. They're like, okay, I didn't go up in weight on this exercise. I think it might have been Blair, actually. I didn't go up in weight on this exercise, but my technique improved a ton. Like, I went lower, I controlled it more, and I feel like I was performing it better. That is huge progress too. It's a little bit harder with online coaching, obviously, because I'm not there kind of like watching you guys. But that's another way that you can progress and that you can kind of like tell your coach. Another way you can progress is controlling the eccentric. So that means kind of like the lowering part of the exercise. And that is normally the part where a lot of people will rush through, and just because it's like typically the most uncomfortable part. So if you control, like if you're lowering your body down on a squat, if you can control that for like 2 to 3 seconds down, pause for a second at the bottom and then move up, that's going to make it dramatically harder than if you were to just go 1 second down and then 1 second back up. So if you control the eccentric, then that is a different way to progress. And then increasing the range of motion. So let's say with your squats, if you only go to 90, but you're like, okay, I don't want to go up in weight yet, but I want to increase my range of motion. Maybe I'll just go like an inch or two past 90 and then back up. That can count as progress as well. If you do any of these 3, I would recommend the first 2 first. If your technique is good, then, and you don't feel comfortable increasing the weight or reps, then I would focus on those things and make sure that you verbally tell your coaches like, hey, I didn't go up in weight, but I did improve my technique, or I didn't go up in weight, but I did last longer on the eccentric part, or I did increase my range of motion, so I feel like that was progress. Just make sure you verbally tell them if you do those last three. So here are some questions to ask yourself this week while you do your workouts. Were my workout sets actually challenging? Did I actually need the full rest? Did I finish my working set and be like, okay, I need to rest for a second. I need to catch my breath. I need to like chill out? Or was it kind of just like, oh, a rest is kind of convenient. I could go again right away though, like if in 20 or 30 seconds. A good way to know that you're really pushing during your working sets is that you actually feel like you need that rest. Another question to ask, did your last few reps require real effort? So let's say if you're working out at the gym with your friend and you're kind of like talking through your reps and you're just like finishing, you go and set it down and it wasn't really like that demanding for you, that's probably, you could probably go up in weight. But if you get to the last like 2 to 3 reps and you have to really like focus, maybe you're grunting a little bit, maybe you're squinting a little bit, you're scrunching your face, that's a real good indicator that like those last few reps are heavy for you and you're really struggling to make those work. And they need your full focus, so that way you don't get injured and your technique doesn't break. And another question to ask yourself is, could I have done 5 or more reps? I guess I should switch that to 3 or more reps. If you can, then consider going heavier. And then, am I sacrificing form just to lift heavier? And if you are, then of course, dial it back, maybe even go lighter, and then focus on your form. We want to focus on form over lifting heavy any day of the week. And if you can't go heavier, then you can focus on those last 3 that we chatted about, the eccentric, controlling or improving your technique and increasing your range of motion. And then if you're progressing, or another question to ask yourself is, am I progressing compared to a few weeks ago? So even the smallest progression is progress. So even if you added like a 1-pound plate on the side of the bar for your back squats, you added 2 pounds, that's a win. Okay, so that is progress. Even the smallest amount of progress, even if you did 1 more rep than what you did the first week you did the exercises, that is also progress. So don't change, or so when you are focusing on your workouts, try to not chase exhaustion, try to chase progress. A great workout isn't determined how sweaty you are, how sore you are, or how destroyed you feel after a workout, or even the amount of calories that you burn during the workout. It's determined by whether you're giving your body a reason to adapt or not. So if you're doing more than what you would have in the past, or what you did when you first like started the program or started the phase, then you know that your body is adapting, you're getting stronger, and that just shows that you're making good changes. One more thing here. My mom actually said this to me a couple of weeks ago. She's like, I have no idea how I'm going to progress next week. Like, I have no idea how I'm going to lift heavier than this. That, if you've ever had that thought when you're doing the workouts, like the first week you're doing the phase of the workouts and you're like, I have no idea how I'm going to progress this phase. That is a good thing, because you're not that strong yet. And if you are that strong, you should be lifting heavier. So if you could progress from the first week and you feel like you kind of like held yourself back a ton, that's probably just showing that you're leaving some gains on the table. You should be at a place where you're pushing yourself hard enough where you're like, I have no idea how I'm going to progress next week. But the whole point of weight training is to break down your muscles so that they can rebuild and become stronger. So if you can't do a heavier weight yet, or if you can't do more reps yet, that is a good thing, because it shows that you're at a good level for where you're at, but your body is going to become stronger, so you will be able to handle heavier loads in the future. So your body will recover, it will adapt, it will get stronger, and you can just focus on progression and continue to get stronger. So if you have that thought, I think Melissa and Kim, they're not on this call, but they say this almost every single phase. They're like, I have no idea how I'm going to get that goal, or I have no idea how I'm going to get stronger. And then they'll pick up a weight and they'll be like, holy crap, I'm lifting this weight. I never thought I'd be able to lift this much weight. And it's because your body adapts and it gets stronger. If you've never done something before, then, oh, they're right there. Hi, guys. If you've never done something before, then it's really hard for you to picture yourself doing it, right? But the the whole point of this is that your body gets stronger, it adapts, and you will soon be able to. All right, Q&A. Just a little prompt if you guys want to answer this one. What's your favorite way to progress? Or anything you guys want to share, any thoughts you want to share on this? Or how you guys are going to progress this week and what you're going to focus on. Okay, Melissa, we'll have you talk first because you guys always have on this.
When you were saying that about, I don't know how I can progress, I was like, I think I say that every week. I'm like, when we put the weights on, and I'm like, I don't know if I could do it. And then I do it. And then I'm like, okay, but I don't know if I could do it again. And then the next set, then I do it. And then I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to go up next week. And then you do it. So I guess that's part of that, like self-doubt, but then we still like push to do it. And I think it does help because then she's like, no, you can do it. Just do it. Even if you can only do a couple reps and then drop down. But then I usually will end up doing more than that. But so I mean, I don't know if that's like the best way that I like to progress that way, but that's kind of how it happens. But I always end up pushing myself anyway. And sometimes I don't feel like I have anything left in the tank. And then if I try to push one more, then maybe I can get it.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I guess one thing I should add to the presentation is a lot of people aren't actually training to failure or even close to failure. And I'm going to throw myself under the bus with this one. So I was working out with Cade, my boyfriend, who's an absolute like beast in the gym. Like he's insane. I hate working out with him. So we did leg extensions and we did a working set, and then we dropped half of the weight and immediately went into a failure set. So you lift like 8 to 10 reps heavy, and then you drop the weight to half, and then you go until you fail. And he was kind of like watching me, and I did like 15 reps on the second like drop set. And he's like, do one more rep. And he's like, that wasn't failure. And I was like, okay. So I did one more rep. He's like, do another rep. And so I did another rep. He's like, do another rep. And for 5 or 6 reps, I was able to get it until I was like, my legs were like literally shaking and couldn't lift up the weight. And so even me, where I thought 15 reps was challenging and I thought I was like breaking form, I could have done 5 or 6 more reps. And so I wasn't actually truly hitting like failure. And I wouldn't have thought that unless he was like there, like yelling at me basically. So a lot of us aren't even hitting failure or even like close to failure. I think our minds and our bodies will kind of like, or I guess our minds will stop us before our bodies actually will. But if you're literally like breaking form and have to compromise your form to get the rep, then that's when you know you're hitting like failure or 1 to 2 reps in reserve. Does anybody else want to say anything, comment on that? Comment on anything on the presentation or any questions in general too?
I really like this presentation, and I think this was super helpful because there are certain workouts where, like the 2-minute rest thing, I remember the first time you put that in my set, and I was like, 2 minutes? That's so long.
You're gonna run a mile and then come back, yeah.
But I needed it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can use this 2-minute rest. But these are all helpful things that I don't think I knew or realized. And sometimes when I will lift with my husband, he'll push me to failure. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of interesting because I do sometimes go lighter when I'm by myself, but also because I'm worried about form, and also, am I going to hurt myself?
Yeah. We'd rather have you not get injured, but yes.
So sometimes I know I do take it easy on myself when it's just me. But it's nice when my husband is around to kind of push me a little bit harder to.
Totally.
Yeah. But this was a great presentation. I really liked this information. Good. I think I needed it.
I think a lot of people needed it. Hopefully people in the group that are on the call will watch it back because I think we get a lot of questions about this. Anybody else have anything they want to add?
Yeah, I will. I think this is my first time doing a workout program where I'm working out from home with like a certain set of equipment. And I think the just kind of freedom to not have sorry, my son is trying to go down a little slide and having a 2-year-old moment. If he gets upset. And I think just like not having every single weight increment to increase or play around with at my disposal is different. And so I think like the reminder of like increasing time under tension and increasing my reps is important, because I think I just can follow the plan like kind of to a T, like, okay, this amount of reps and all right, moving on. And then I finish the workout and I'm like, I feel like I did leave some in the tank. So being kind of creative with how to do that without always necessarily having the weights to increase that I'd want to increase, but still like noticing a way to okay, come over here. Come here. He's like realizing I'm talking to people.
Yeah, I'll talk.
This is Doug.
Hi, Doug. Yeah, no, I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good thing for people who work at home that don't have like all the equipment available to them. There's different ways to progress if you don't have heavier weight. It's like if you really slow things down, like if you did a squat for like 3 seconds down, hold at the bottom for 1 to 2 seconds, and then push back up for 1 to 2 seconds or 1 second, you're gonna really like burn yourself on that one. So it will really add more progress. And if you can focus on your technique while you're doing that too, that's definitely a way to progress rather than just throwing more weight on the bar. So that's a good point.
I was also thinking of one more note on rest, was like last week, I think it was, I had to modify my workout schedule because we were traveling. So I ended up doing like kind of 6 workout days in a row because I had to adjust my 4 workout days, and then kind of it went right into the next week. And just noticing like my general fatigue and inability to perform well, because I think it was like, yeah, it was the most like tangible experience I can recall where it was like, oh no, rest days
Rest
really
days
matter
actually make a
also.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah, let alone like a rest minute, like yeah, me actually being able to rest these muscles, because like I think I was like doing Bulgarian split squats or something, and like my very first set, like my glutes were like shaking already. I was like, oh, okay, this isn't gonna be good.
And my body actually needs to recover to rebuild. Well, okay, good reminder. Yeah, no, I'm preparing for like a jiu-jitsu match in a couple weeks, and I've only been going to the gym 3 days a week. And when I like prepare for fights, I would go 2 times a day. And so it's crazy to feel how much better I feel in my jiu-jitsu training every single day, because I have so many like rest days of jiu-jitsu in between. I'm like, maybe I should have taken a few more rest days in my MMA career, and maybe my body would have felt a little bit better when I was preparing for this. But yeah, no, rest days are definitely good, so you don't feel drained and beat down. Great points there. Anybody else have anything? Susan, Joy? Susan says no. Joy does.
I'm grabbing coffee. I notice I hopped on late, but I noticed that every time I get a new workout at the beginning of it, I'm like, oh my God, I suck. And and I feel like not all of it, but like certain pieces of it, I feel like really weak, or like I'm never going to be strong at this. And then, by the end of, the however many weeks I'm doing the workout, I'm like, I've increased, the weights, I feel stronger, I can hold the form, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do this. But my point is, at the beginning, every time there's always a couple exercises, which I'm like, I just feel, what's the word? Like I can't do them well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep. No, I get it. Yeah, I think that's
because at the end I'm like, I feel strong. I did those. Like, I can't believe I felt like I was going to fall over when I did XYZ the first time.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think that just comes with building the coordination too, because first week you're like getting introduced to the exercises, and you're like, oh crap, this is going to be tough. And then by the end you're like, oh, okay, cool. My body adapted. I got stronger. This is great. Cool. All right. Anybody have any last questions, comments, concerns they want to throw in before we head out? No? Okay. All right. Well, have a great rest of your Sunday, and think about those questions this week.
Thank you.